Mackenzie Johnston with Cattle News Central, bringing you your June 14th cattle industry headlines. Brought to you by Ag Risk Advisors. They manage your risk so you can manage your operation. With the weather being incredibly unstable, as we have all witnessed here recently, there's no better time to look into coverage for your feed crops. The annual forage deadline is right around the corner. With their state-of-the-art technology and superb customer service, you can be confident that your policy is in good hands. Ag Risk Advisors, risks averted, legacies preserved. We are also sponsored by Circle 5 Cow School. If you're wanting to learn how to preg check your own cows or start AIing, Circle 5 Cow School is definitely the way to go. Almost every week they are hosting classes somewhere between Texas and Tennessee. They do a phenomenal job. Go ahead and check out their schedule at circle5cowschool.com. That is the number 5 in there, or you can go ahead and just give them a follow on Facebook. Meeting Place has reported last week Smithfield Foods announced it will be closing its only California hog processing plant in Vernon, California, thanks to the rising cost of doing business in the state. Besides a significantly higher cost per head, California's regulatory climate was also something Smithfield took into consideration with this decision. The plant is scheduled to be shuttered in early 2023, which will leave 1,800 workers without jobs. The Chinese-owned company will also be closing a handful of company-owned farms in California and Arizona, as well as scaling back some farm operations in Utah. When this news broke last week, Beaver County, Utah officials declared a state of economic emergency that is seeking federal and state funding to develop ways to maintain hog operations in both Beaver and Iron counties in hopes of saving jobs. Last week, USDA's Economic Research Service released data showing that inflation continues to impact meat prices. No surprise. The all-fresh retail beef price in May was $7.68 per pound, an increase of 10.2% or 71 cents per pound compared to a year ago. Ground beef was $4.89 per pound. That was up 8.9% or 40 cents per pound compared to May of 2021. This was the third highest price on record for ground beef. Chuck and round roasts, they were $7.03 and $6.31 per pound respectively in the month of May, and that was up 10.2% and 8.3% from last year. Retail pork prices reached another record level in May at $4.89 per pound, marginally up from the month before, but up 11.5% or 50 cents per pound higher than last year. May marks the third consecutive month that retail pork prices have set a record price. A fun fact to note, the top 12 retail pork prices have all occurred in the past 12 months. Another thing to note, the prices of pork at the meat counter, they continue to go up, much like we have seen when it comes to beef. However, with pork, year over year, prices for hogs, for all classes of hogs, they have only increased 0.79%. So much like cattle producers, but to a larger extent, hog producers just are not seeing any of the benefit of increased meat prices at the meat counter. The Cow-Calf Corner newsletter has reported, according to Daryl Peel with OSU, through the end of May, beef cow slaughter year to date is 15% higher year over year. And we're only halfway through 2022, so by the end of this year, it is expected that annual beef cow slaughter total will be up by double digits year over year. As I touched on last week, there have been some portions of the United States that has caught a few rains here and there, and it has improved pasture conditions. However, range and pasture conditions nationally are still at the worst level ever for this time of year. Thanks to dry conditions, we saw a 9% increase in beef cow slaughter in 2021 and a net herd culling of 11.6%. All of this led to a 2.33% decrease in the beef cow herd last year. The beef cow inventory peaked back in 2019 at 31.69 million head. By January 1st of this year, that number declined to 30.12 million head, a 4.9% decrease in 3 years. According to Peel, the current level of beef cow slaughter suggests a culling rate in excess of 13% this year and a potential beef cow herd decline of 1 million head or more. if drought conditions were to significantly improve in the second half of this year. But let's be honest, the chances of that happening are pretty darn slim. But if they were to improve, 2022 could allow for more heifer calf retention this year and result in potential herd rebuilding as soon as 2024. This update is also sponsored by 4T Ag Insurance. Colt Tritt, he is the owner and operator of 4T Ag. He is a one-man show. He himself ranches, so he understands the risks that come along with the livestock industry. If your operation is not already enrolled in PRF insurance, now is the time to reach out to 4T Ag and get enrolled. If you'd like to learn more about 4T Ag and everything they have to offer, head on over to their website, www.4tag.net. That is the number 4tag.net. And finally, MarketWatch has reported the cost of living increased 1% in May due to higher rents, gas, and food prices, which pushed the rate of U.S. inflation to a 40-year high of 8.6%. From grocers to restaurants to airlines, businesses across the country are passing the rising cost of food and energy prices onto consumers, which has generated and will continue to generate public and political outcry concerning inflation. Unfortunately, it does not look like inflation is going to back off anytime soon. Fuel prices continue to head for the moon. Almost every day it seems like I'm reporting on some record, whether it be diesel or gasoline. In the month of May, gasoline prices increased 4.1% and accounted for a large portion of the increased cost of living for Americans. Grocery prices are absolutely staggering. It seems like you can go in and what you spent last year at this time only gets you half of what you were getting last year at this time. In May, food prices increased 1.2%, and keep in mind, just in the last year, grocery prices have increased 12%, the biggest increase since 1981. The big worry on Wall Street is that inflation is shifting from goods to services, such as rent, hotel rates, or plane tickets. Rising prices in services tend to be more difficult to reverse, which is often a sign inflation is becoming embedded in the economy. Great news. Earnings have fallen 3% in the last year after taking inflation into account. So if worker pay continues to fall behind, which it looks like it's going to, Americans are going to be forced to either dig into their savings or cut back on spending. Either of those situations would be negative for our economy. That is all I have for you guys this morning. Again, I hope you guys are staying cool out there. It is so darn hot here in Nebraska this week. And also, my thoughts and prayers go out to everyone in Montana that have been impacted by the terrible flooding that is going on up there. It just looks absolutely horrific. So definitely thinking of all you folks up there. You guys have yourself a terrific Tuesday. I'll catch you later.